Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Two Generations,
One conversation
where perspective may differ, but the goal is always connection. So, hello, my name is Giselle, and we are beginning, this will be our first introduction podcast, Two Generations, One Conversation. I think this podcast, I was inspired by, of course, having a teenage daughter and trying to understand some of the things that parents go through with teenagers, um, understand a different generation, obviously, and as we live in the social media world, kind of understand their standpoint. I found that with my daughter, you know, my upbringing was different, and I was trying to raise her as such. But times have changed, things have changed. There's a lot of things they're exposed to. So, and I think it's very important that we get close to our teenagers so that they feel open to have conversations with us. So I got this bright idea because everybody knows social media is the thing. So decided that we were going to start a podcast, and hopefully that will bring us more, give us more connection. Um, so that we can learn from each other, right? And make conversation, more conversation, I should say, and maybe we can help other families in the world that are struggling to connect with their teenagers, mothers trying to connect with teenagers, and teenagers trying to get closer to their mom. So we hope that everyone enjoys this and they learn something from it, and that we could help someone as we go along on this journey of two generations.
On one conversation.
Great. So, some of the things is like, why is it important to have conversations across generations? I think because we have different ideas of things, right?
Yeah, I would say so because her generation, she had, different things. They didn't really have social media as much as we do now. So they see things differently. We see things differently.
Yeah.
And it's best to always share our thoughts on how these things are different from each other.
Yeah. So, and I guess being raised in a different generation too, as a parent, is sometimes a struggle because we tend to remember some of the rules that we had, and we feel like, okay, as parents, because we obviously would emulate our parents and our upbringing, so we're trying to pass that on generation. And I think in this generation, it doesn't always work. It doesn't mean that it's not good. We weren't raised properly. I just think that you have to adjust some of the rules. So what kind of topics do we want to cover? Um, we'll try to touch as many as they come along, based on what happened during the week with us. We'll probably do topics like that. We want to talk about relationships. We want to talk about work. Definitely, we'll talk about culture. We'll talk about growth. We'll talk about curfews, about dangers, things of that nature. Yeah, rolling the eyes, right? Rolling the eyes. So, hopefully, as we go on this journey, that we can definitely get some of y'all to jump on the bus with us on this journey, and we could eventually interact, and you could learn from us, and we could probably learn from y'all. We hope listeners would be delighted to hear how we figure out um, this generation gap that we have when it comes to parenting. We hope that we'll help families that maybe are struggling um, to find that connection with their teenagers. We hope that we could inspire them to try something, try to do something that you can get closer and things of that nature. What do you think? What do you want listeners to take away?
I would honestly, I would want our listeners to give suggestions because sometimes we have problems that other people don't have, and they have problems that we don't have. So if someone were to comment, oh, I'm having this problem with my daughter or my son, and we don't know anything about it, we could probably give our knowledge about it, or you could give us your knowledge about it, and we can also discuss it. Because I think that'd be kind of cool to see everyone.
Probably more so give our opinions.
Opinions on that.
And then we can have some great dialogue on that. So now we really want to introduce so that you get to know us, right? So I'll begin. So again, I mentioned my name is Giselle. I am 46 years old. I am a Navy veteran, also a nurse by background. I work in nursing informatics at this time. I am very passionate about patient care. I do work in home health setting, which is where my love have been. I've been a nurse for 10 years. I think I'm going to go a little further. I am also I was born in Trinidad and Tobago. I have been living in the USA for over 25 years. So I do have what we call a West Indian background. I am an only child. I have been married for 19 years. Woo! I have 2 kids. So, and still learning this parenting thing, because I think we could do many things, and we can find books, and we can go on the internet and get rules and manuals. But I think parenting comes with everyday experiences, right? There's no motherhood handbook out there. And this is just my opinion. Some of my experiences, I think, has shaped my perspective would be definitely being in the military. You meet so much of different culture, different individuals. In addition to, you learn structure, you learn leadership early, right? So some of those things that I learned in the military, I think, also shape the way I parent. And some of my life experiences to shape the way I parent, coming from the Caribbean.
Strict.
Yeah. Being raised by Caribbean parents, it's very strict, right? So I think that's where our differences come up a lot, right? Because and kind of like why I felt that there was a need to discuss that generation gap, because you have to think I was being raised in the 90s, right? Well, there wasn't social media, there wasn't cell phones. I mean, cell phones came in, but not right away. There was an Instagram, that kind of thing. I think back in the days we had MySpace, which might have been in the 2000s, not even in the 90s, right?
Were you on that?
MySpace. No, I actually wasn't. I heard about it. My friends had it, but I didn't really do MySpace. And then there was a world of the Blackberries.
What is that?
Which, see, she doesn't know what a Blackberry is.
No, what is that? Is that a website?
So it's like it was a phone, and how do I explain it? I think it's like how you chat now. You used to send I forgot what it was called, BB messages. Maybe when you see this video, if you have more information about the Blackberries, if you remember the Blackberries, send us a comment. We could talk about that next week a little bit. But that was a big thing, having a Blackberry and you sending people messages on from the Blackberry. So there was kidnapping and things back there, but it was in that era, but it wasn't as prevalent as now, like child trafficking and those type of things. So it was a different timing, right? Which we later on we may talk more about safety. So that's me in a nutshell, and I'm going to have Dahlia introduce herself.
Hi everyone, I am Dahlia, also known as Leah, Dahlia, because a lot of people get my name wrong. But my name is Dahlia, and I'm 15 years old, and this is my mom. She had this idea to do this podcast with me. I think she was watching, what you were watching, Two Funny Mamas? Them? Is that kind of your inspiration?
Not really, but I do listen to a lot of podcasts. I do,
So-
but I do listen to Too Funny Mamas.
So she told me one day, she was like, why don't we do a podcast? And I sat there and I thought about it. I was like, I don't know, I'm a little scared. And I still am scared now. And when she told me about it, I thought about it, and she was adding the stuff on her card, and I was like, I didn't even make a decision yet. And she was adding the stuff on her card. She's like, let me get the mics, let me get this and that. So I was like, okay, cool. She got the stuff. We delayed it a little bit because I was scared. Don't
So
tell
I
her.
think sometimes I have to push you. So that's a thing. Like she's very. I think sometimes you second guess what you can't do.
I do.
You know, so you rather say no than try. And I think I push you. And there's many instances where, you know, I'm like, do this, and you're like, no, and then you do it, and you then
End
you
up
say,
liking it.
yeah. Then you're like, oh, that was fun, or you say, oh, I like that. You know, like your business, which we'll talk more about
Talk
another
more about
time.
that. To add to my introduction, I do own a very small business. It's not up yet, but hopefully through these videos, if we get a bit more known, I'm not gonna say popular. If we get more known, I could probably do small advertisements. She also has a business too. If you guys didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, but some of my hobbies, I do like to play video games. I love video games. I'd like to draw. I've been drawing for a very, very long time. I'm trying to get better at it because I do seek interest in architecture, but my job interest is somewhere in the engineering. And I would say that I do hope that I do get there, and my mom, if she pushes me more, I will get to the things, because like she said, most of the time when I say no, I'm probably going to end up being good at what I'm saying no to, but I'm normally scared. I'm a very scary person. So
I don't know why.
so I'm glad she's here
to talk back though. Yeah.
Okay. But my perspective on this podcast, like I said, I was scared, but I am interested because I feel like the two generations, it's a very big thing. Like she said, in her days, they didn't really have phones and stuff. I have phones. You know, she's always like, don't talk to this, don't talk to that. I don't want you talking to this. I don't want you talking to that. I want to see this. I want to see that. And back then, they didn't really have to worry about that, because now, how would I say, the internet, everybody's on the internet. There's good people, there's bad people. I don't really think there's an in between. So bad people are on the internet, right? And they're always disguised as good people. And there's been a lot of instances she's told me about people, you know, committing suicide from people on the internet, cyberbullying. And cyberbullying is a very big topic that we need to do to talk about that. It's, even though it doesn't seem like it's big, it's very big, because we have lost many people to cyberbullying. Just talking to the wrong people in general. You might be talking to someone saying that they're 15 and they're out there like 45 or like older. Like, you never know. Like, and I understand her concern for that. And this podcast honestly is necessary because our relationship, we have a very good relationship, of course, but I'm a teenager and it's my time to rebel. I'm gonna be honest. I like to rebel. I like to be free.
Oh, we like to what?
You know, like,
so yeah. So we heard it. World, she likes to rebel. So I am pretty sure there are parents out there wondering, why is my teen like this? Well, I guess that's the thing. They like to rebel. They are rebelling. So yeah. So I guess on this journey we will learn how we deal with teenagers rebelling, right? As Dahlia's just put it.
But when I say rebel, I really mean
clean that up.
As in coming from a strict household, doing something that I want to do is freedom. So it feels good. It's like it's kind of like dopamine. It feels really good to do something that I'm not supposed to be doing. If that understands, the teenagers will understand. It sounds bad as it is, but I promise I don't do anything to get in a whole bunch of big trouble. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. But there's always a chance she's gonna find out. So
That's the thing, teenagers. I don't know why y'all don't realize that your parents are detectives by nature, right? Um, we're gonna find out. Like, and then you get caught once, you get caught twice, you get caught 3 times. Maybe that should tell you, you know what, I'm not good at this. Maybe I shouldn't do this, right? But yeah, that's another discussion for
yeah.
another
See
day.
how we're like
Yeah.
gaining topics from
Yeah.
talking, like, but
So what are you excited for?
I'm excited about, honestly, just hopefully that we get closer from doing all of this. That's what I'm excited about. That we get closer from doing all of this, and that we can share our relationship with others as well as them sharing with us, like I had said before. And I'm very nervous about negative feedback because, of course, we're now starting. So I do expect better, of course, in our later videos when we get to topics and stuff. And I also am nervous about not doing well. But from right now, it seems like we're doing pretty good. So
I would say that too. And one of the things going into this, I told Delia, I was like, we're just doing this to have conversations, to have connections. That's the main goal. We don't need to be perfect. We surely aren't coming here to judge anyone, and we would hope that no one comes here to judge us. Um, but I want us to have fun with this. I want us to, like you said, to get close. It's about building that connection. We are close, but we can be closer in the sense of, I want to make sure that she feels really comfortable talking to me about anything. In addition, I want to be able to feel comfortable to talk to her about anything, because I think some parents struggle to talk about different things. They're taboo topics, sex, drugs, um, boyfriends, you know. Um, I remember back in my time, my parents didn't talk to me about that. It was just, don't do it, can't have it, right? So yeah, but this generation, I call them the why generations. They always, but why, and I think sometimes with teenagers, if we explain to them why, given scenarios, then they understand. Doesn't say that they won't do it because we've all pushed that barrier. All right. So, do you want to do a fun icebreaker?
sure.
All right. So here we go. What is one thing we always disagree on? I'm gonna let you go first.
Doing the chores. One.
I don't like to do them.
Screen time. And what I should wear and what I shouldn't wear. Yeah, that's
Do you copy my answer?
No, because that's a very big one. Every time I'm putting on something just to feel a little cute. Where are you going in that? That's too short. That's too tiny. Mom.
Yeah.
Mom.
So those are actually, that's good that you call those out because it's some of the things I had. Clothes, yes, what to wear, screen time, like you had. But I also have food, like what to eat, because that's a struggle.
It is.
Yeah, you always don't want to eat what we cook, and you want junk food, and trying to tell her that you can't eat all of these processed food and think that you're going to be healthy. You have to have solid balance. So sometimes that is a big thing that we disagree upon because she just doesn't want to eat certain things and she would rather starve. So there's always food in the house. It's just probably what that daily likes. So that's okay. So what is something we've learned from each other?
So I put down, I said that you are a very nice person to be around when you're not stressed. Now let me elaborate before you say anything. Ma wakes up early. She has to drop my brother to school. So like that's around 6. And then she keep in mind you don't start work until 8, right?
8:30.
8:30. And then she gets off of work around 5, maybe later. So that's like she's up the whole day doing what she has to do as a mom, right? So I'm like, so when I'm doing my homework in here during the day, I try not to talk to her unless I need to because she's doing her work. She's stressed out. She woke up early in the morning, not even for work, just to drop my brother off to school. And I'm like, okay, you know what? When she lies down and she's having a relaxing time, then maybe I'll go talk to her. But overall, when she's stressed, she's like a little monster sometimes. Just a little one, not a big one. She's just a little grumpy. But I understand. I understand.
Well, I think that's a good call out because and I appreciate the fact that you notice that when I'm stressed is when I'm, a little bit antsy and stuff like that.
Right.
And I think as parents, we sometimes don't realize that our kids are looking at us and the things that we do. And, they're paying attention, right? We don't often think they're paying attention, but they do pay attention. For me, I think I have been a little bit conscious about that. So I have the new thing, when I finish work, because I work from home. So working from home, I'm not leaving the house often. And when I finish work and I walk out my office, it's just being attacked. It's the husband, it's the kids, it's mom, and you have to make dinner and stuff like that. So it can boil into a stressful situation. So I've created this thing where when I finish work, I need 5 to 10 minutes where nobody calls my name. I call it my hiding time. Sometimes I just go sit on the bathroom, just sit there and kind of decompress, right? So it's kind of like, if you work in an office, you're decompressing from work on your drive home. So when you walk in the door as a parent, you're full on and ready for your kids, your husband, the dog, everybody. Whereas if you work from home, whether you work on your couch, in the office, whatever, doesn't matter. But once you finish that last meeting, you're walking right into it. So yeah, so we created a little bit of a boundary. When I finish work, give me 10 minutes, let me unwind. And then, I get with them and we talk about how their day is and things like that. Now, don't take this out of context. That doesn't mean when my kids walk in the door in the afternoon, they can't talk to me. They come, they say good afternoon. I give hugs if I'm not on a call. And then they know what they're supposed to do. Chores, homework, that kind of thing. So I think that was a good one. Describe each other. Oh, sorry, I didn't answer.
I was about to say, what about me?
So what I have learned from Delia, funnily enough, is sometimes I need to not be a helicopter mom and let her do things on her own. That's what I've learned because I think I want to be that I don't want to say rock, but I just want to make sure that she doesn't fail. And in me thinking that I don't want her to fail, I want to do things for her. And sometimes I don't let her do things for herself. And that's something I learned. When I learned that?
When?
I learned that when your business pitch. So
when I did it myself?
Yeah.
Oh.
Delia had a contest that she entered, which is still in the running. She had to do a business pitch, and we did the first part of it, which was the application together. And then she moved on to round 2, and she had to do a video of the business pitch. And I kept saying, Delia, come on, let's do the video. Let me help you. And I don't know, for whatever reason. I don't know. You want to share why you wanted to do it on your own?
Because I understood the help, but because I did get accepted into the third round, so I was like, if she helps me, what am I?
No, well, the second round. The second
Oh yeah,
round
the
was a
second
video.
round.
Yeah.
The second round was a video.
Mhm.
If this gets processed to the third round, what am I gonna do? Because the only reason why I wanted to do it by myself, I wrote out what I wanted to say. I thought about it. I revised it the same night, and I was like, okay, this is good. I'm gonna do this. But then here she goes. Let me help you out. Let me help you out.
Offered.
I was like, no, let me do it myself, because now when I do get to round 3, it's an actual in-person convention. When I get there, I gotta know what to say by myself. She can't stand next to me and help me out. So I was like, I need to do this by myself, so I know what I'm doing. I know what to say. I know how to say it, and etc. But
Yeah.
understanding that she is a helicopter mom, I do appreciate that, because unfortunately there are some parents out there that who don't care about their children, and I see it sometimes it gets to a point where I'm like, okay, mom, I can do this myself, like the first day, was it 8th grade, the first day of the first day of 7th grade, let me put your backpack on for you, mom, I can put it on myself, mom.
Well, you needed a little help. Anyway, so moving on, let's do describe each other in 3 words. I can go first.
Okay.
So I would say Dila is creative, gorgeous, and very headstrong.
Elaborate on the last one.
I think you're not in a bad way. I think you're very headstrong in that you have a lot of determination. If you have made up your mind that you are going to do something, you are going to do it, even bad things. And when I say bad out there, please understand she doesn't do anything bad. She doesn't do drugs or anything like that. But I'm just saying, if it's something that even, wanting to push that barrier, like she's very headstrong, which I think can be positive and negative in times. It all depends on how you use that, because if you use all of that determination for good, and doing good things, then the world will just open up for you. You'd experience so much. So that's one thing. That's a quality that I see you have, and it also builds into leadership too. You have some leadership qualities where you do shine there. So
for you, I said that you are caring, funny, and strict. So caring,
I don't like that last one.
but it's true. It's true in a good way. And actually, let me elaborate on this last one. So when I say strict, I mean as in a way, as in not, I don't really want you to do this. You can't do anything. In a way, as in, I don't think this is going to work for you. I don't think this is good for you. And I don't think this is going to get you anywhere type of strict. Because like sometimes I revise over the things that she says I can't do, I'm not supposed to do, and it's not the end of the world. Like, mom, can I go to the mall with my friends? No, you can't, because but because it's not the end of the world. One, it's just the mall. I could go there anytime with her if I need to. Two, you can never really fully trust an environment. And three, you can never trust anyone else as your own. As in, my friend, she doesn't know their background. She doesn't know what type of home they come from. And she tells me this all the time. And that's a feature that I like, but I also don't like when it comes to me doing things that I want to do. And funny, mom is a very funny person. She makes me laugh all the time. I like to bother her and make her laugh all the time.
Yeah.
Caring, mom is a very caring person. Honestly, just everything she does for me. Like, it might just be saving leftovers from a night before, because I don't want to eat the food that she cooked the day, and she gave me those leftovers when she said she was gonna eat it. Hint, hint, last week. And just tiny things like that. She may not think that I notice, but I always notice when she does the most tiniest little things, or like how she's just always there for me in certain rough spots, because
Yeah.
she's just always there for me. So I love that quality about her a lot.
Well, I appreciate it. So, last one. It's called who's more likely to. So
Okay.
we'll call three things out and we'll see who. So who is more likely to be on their phone?
Mm, I feel, I feel like this is vice versa. One, you honestly,
I think it's both of us.
I think so too.
Yeah, we're
I really
always on
think
our
so.
phones. Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Who is more likely to give advice?
Definitely, Mom.
Yes.
Definitely.
Who's more likely to be right? Come on, do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Anyway, so this has been real fun. I think even though our perspectives may differ across generations, I think there are a lot of conversations that we can have and we can share and we can come up with solutions or problem solve based on the situation. So I think the generation gap, it is a thing, but I think it's something that parents probably need to embrace, and you need to learn um, about the new generation and the things that they do. I'm not on the TikTok dance trend yet. We're not done there yet, but I'm learning. I'm doing things, and I think by me learning and exploring some of the things that the this generation is interesting, then I get to know how they feel and what they want and understand, and I also think it's important that we do keep abreast of all the trends, because then that way we can keep our kids safe by knowing. Um, so one question we want to get into is, how do we handle disagreements?
Whew. Whoa.
Real tough one for our first episode, but I think we can start here and build on that. I can go first.
Okay.
So I think, as I mentioned, there's no handbook for motherhood, I would say, or even fatherhood if you're a single father, or even if in a two household. Let's say there's no handbook for parents, right? I think sometimes you're going based on how you were raised, you're going based on norms, you're going based on what you feel is right, and things of that nature. I think early on, when Daly was younger, um, disagreements, or what I should say, parenting, giving rules and regulations in the house, um, it was done a little different in my household than it is now, right? When she was younger, it was like we said no, and no is no. You can't do this, that kind of thing. As she began that those years of getting into that teenage years, 12, 13, as they're learning themselves, and challenges were coming up, and I would say her challenging rules and things like that. We had to sit and really think about, okay, how are we going to do this? Like, I would say without losing our mind. um, and because we're both from raised in Caribbean home, parenting is different in a Caribbean home. You don't challenge your parents in a Caribbean home. When they say no or whatever, that's it. And you just listen to the rules, basically. um I think this generation, like, as I mentioned, I call them the Y generation, because they have a sense of wanting to know why you have these rules, what's the reasoning, and it could be good and it could be bad. So I'm going to focus on why it's good. I think it's good because it allows them to always want to learn, and understand. And I think that helps them to make the right decision. Like, is this wrong? Knowing the reason for something help them to make the right decisions. Does it always happen? No, we agree. So I think, yeah, it looked a little disagreements before were hard for us because it was no and there was no. And then she would be angry, right? Now, we don't have slamming doors in the house. That's one thing that's non negotiable. You do not slam doors because why? You don't
Own the house?
Okay, you don't pay a mortgage. You don't get to slam doors. Um, so that's a no. But definitely the rolling of eyes, talking back, going to the room, mad, that kind of thing. Typical teenager things, and it's expected. Um, so at first as she's coming up, I think we would do the punishment thing. We would do, I don't know, sometimes yelling, like simple little things like, just going back and forth, like, don't do that, why'd you do this kind of thing. But I think those aren't really effective. So we've learned to do different things, right? So we've learned to tell Julia, like, okay, these are your chores. If you don't get them done, then you get your device taken. You don't get to have your device after school. Um, we've learned to, oh, that one time we used to have Thursday, what it was called?
Oh, Thursday. It was
Thursday talk or
no,
something
it was
like that.
it was a meeting. We had a meeting
Yeah.
every Thursday.
Yeah. Where maybe you want to explain what we did.
Every Thursday, we came to an agreement that everyone would sit down with each other. All four of us would sit down with each other and make everyone have turns on what they think. Was it what we didn't like or what we weren't agreeing
Yeah,
on?
what we didn't like throughout the week, what incident happened that we didn't like, and how it made us feel, and if we, did we want an explanation from if it was a particular person that said or did something to you, if we want an explanation of why that happened or try to resolve it. So yeah, we did that for a while, which I think really helped because
Really?
it also helped, um, well, Delia in particular, to open up and talk about how she was feeling and how certain things made her feel, or how, if she was yelled at, how it made her feel. And again, let's make this clear: there's no abuse here, okay? So don't come in the comments about abuse because you're yelling. Like, I think an elevation of voice happens at times. Just because if you've told someone do something a couple times, it does happen. So, but it wasn't a constant verbal yelling abuse. So let's clear that up. So anyway, so we did that, and that type of fizzed
Yeah.
out or whatever. But I think as she's got older, it's become where, um, we just take things away because we realize those are the things that she really like, right? And we all know the phone is their lifeline. So yeah. Now, if you don't do your chores and we have to tell you, then you lose your privilege of your phone, you lose your privilege of your tablet or your game or whatever. If it's a severe instance, if it's something, worse than just talking back or chores, sometimes you lose it for a week. Grades are not good. That's another thing.
Yeah.
She lose the device, week, 2 week. Sometimes if she talk back inappropriately to her dad or me, then she lose it for a week or whatever. I don't know. What do you feel? Do you feel like that's a better approach, or?
Yeah, because one, like you hit the nail right there. That's one thing that I like. I like my devices. And two, I think I mean, I'm getting older now. Basic yelling and stuff doesn't really affect me as it did back then. I mean, of course, you're still getting your point out there when you yell. So obviously, I still hear it. But I think taking stuff away so I could reflect on what I did and why I shouldn't do it again is better than, I guess, any other punishment, I believe. So
Yeah.
I agree with her on that.
Yeah, so we could, and I mean, this is like, I think parenting is a everyday, every life, because as your kids grow and they grow to different ages, the conversations will change, the dynamic will change, as the conversations that we would have when she goes to college will be different.
Questions I'll have too.
Yeah, exactly. When she finished college and goes off into the world and work, those conversations will become different, right? So as a parent, we're always evolving and learning how to deal with our kids and deal with certain situations. So I think it's always good to find a foundation how to handle disagreements, because the disagreements will continue to happen, because she's eventually going to be an adult where I can't really tell her what to do, but will I agree with maybe some of her choices? Probably not. And so at that point in time, my parenting will have to change on the way I parent her, or in the way we disagree about things that she may be doing in her life that I don't agree upon. So yeah, I think finding a balance of how to handle disagreements where there's no contention, um, and there's no malice is the best way. So we will probably try to wrap it up now. We hope that the beginning of this podcast, this first episode, really intrigue you. We will try to do weekly episodes and have them loaded. Um, look forward to some of the conversations, some of the hard ones, some of the emotional ones. We want to, talk about life, talk about boys, talk about curfew, talk about, sure, we're going to get to the fashion, um, talk about college, getting ready for college, those types of things. We want to be able to have a variation of conversations, so we can give what we're doing and then hear from you. And hopefully that we can help someone, and someone may be able to help us when they send in comments, because we're not going to have all the answers. So we hope to definitely look forward for more of that. Sending topics, questions, feedback. You can send it to 2generation1conversation at gmail.com. That's two, the number two, GENERATION, one, the number one, conversation, CONVERSATION at gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. Just remember that this podcast is about connection. It's about understanding and growing together, no matter the age. We're very excited to have you on this journey. Please come here with a clear mind and a positive spirit. We will not tolerate negative, because this is not what it is. And we ask you to be sure to like
and subscribe
so you don't miss another episode. Share this with someone from another generation. And don't forget, send us your topics and questions. This has been the first episode of Two Generations,
One Conversation.
Thank you.
Bye.